You can tell the conviction. You can see it on his face. It's not just words.
I need more from everybody, including myself. We got to get out of this, and we're right back in a playoff spot if we win tomorrow night.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the In the Dome podcast. The show is a presentation of Bet365. We talked about this last night on Afterburner. We were talking about it all season long. Just the emotional pendulum. We suck. We're good. Are we good? Do we suck? Who are we? And I don't know, man. It's just it's one of those quintessential questions, I think. It's a self-identity thing as a Flames fan. Are we just a 16th overall team that sometimes has a good season, but most times we just are mid? Like, is this we just got to accept our fate here or what?
Yeah. You said this at the beginning of the year. You were like, here's what's going to happen. You called this. It was like, October, and you're like, you got to just bend over and accept your fate, because and it was so spot on. It was exactly true. And it's so funny how wave of emotion is like, I'm ready to cheer and die for these dumb idiots who are not even in a playoff spot today. And I'm just like so jacked up after last night. I was like, yeah.
Those last two games.
Those last two games are just like right back in it, as if you're like competing for the Stanley Cup when
you're just like, let's fucking go. Let's get in there and get absolutely ass ramped.
Yeah, exactly. And you're like, you know what? Like, oh, Dustin Wolf, and you're like we could win a play. Oh, yeah, you know what? We could. It's just like every fucking time you convince yourself, get right back into it. I mean, that's all you can do. Otherwise, you'll go crazy.
So I think, you know what? I think I'm onto something. As Flames fans, we just need to. It's just. What is that old saying? Know thyself. It's written upon the Ark of Delphi or some shit. And I think we can all just. I mean, Darren Haynes had a good tweet. You brought it up last night. What did he say again?
Yeah, he said, there's a lot of infighting amongst like Team Tank versus Team Playoffs, and has created a lot of separation in the fan base. But ultimately, we can come together because they don't please either of us, right? We can come together. We can take solace and all come together and gather around and all be annoyed together, right? That they're probably not going to do either. They're not going to tank, and they're not going to make the playoffs. Exactly. And I thought that was
there's some commonality,
exactly spot on. We have some common ground here where, hey, they're not going to do what any of us want. They're just going to exist to drive us absolutely batshit crazy for all of eternity.
We're just a 16th overall franchise. Perpetually, forever. That's who we are. It's locked in. That's all I expect for the rest of my lifetime as a Flames fan.
Yep.
To be 16th overall. Because, I mean, look at the standings today. You're out of the final wildcard spot, yet you're 16th overall in the league. I think that's just, we're 16th overall in the league.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's good enough to get you in the playoffs in the West. Sometimes it's not.
Well, I looked at after 69 games, the last 3 years, it's uncanny. After 69 games in 2023, 76 points, 551 points percentage, 3 points out of wildcard 2. After 69 games last year, 71 points, 514 points percentage. They were 12 points out, but that's just the competition was a little bit better in around the same points percentage range. After 69 points this year, what are we, 2 points out of wildcard 2? It's just like the consistency. The consistency is insane. And points percentage, what? 558. So it's 555, 514, 558. 3 years in a row.
And it's
doesn't get more consistent than that.
We talked about this on Afterburner last night too. And it's like, it's not even, it's crazy because but it's a pendulum swings back and forth. There's that meme out there. How does that meme go?
Oh, we're so over. We're so back. It's so over. We're so back. It's never been more over. We've never been more back.
But, and you made a good point last night. It's not only just all season long. It's fucking every single game.
It's like every shift almost.
It's emotionally fucking taxing is what it is.
Yeah, that game last night, the Islanders game, right? It's like you're sitting there thinking, okay, the Flames generally lose this game. In the past 3 years, this is the game they would lose, right? The game where they can actually, kind of actually make some ground.
But dude, is it actually? No, they would actually win that game to keep themselves right fucking
classic
there, right
Cocktease.
on the fucking line, bring everybody's hope back into it just to be smashed,
to snatch it away. Probably
Yep.
get crushed by Seattle this week, just like embarrassing.
Exactly.
So fall right back
up on Seattle early. Everybody's like, "Yay, here we go!" And then fucking blow it in the third period.
Sounds about right.
And walk away with 0 points in that game.
Which is what you're thinking.
While St. Louis will win.
Yeah, they'll win. They'll
widen the gap.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because it's all season long, right? You're going from one extreme to the next extreme. It's like complete apathy, right? Like you have that. We trade deadline comes and goes, and you're like, okay, well, at least we didn't buy. Why didn't we sell? And you're sitting there and you understand why we didn't sell, but you're like, well, you understand why we should have sold. So then you're just like, okay, whatever. Team playoffs, let's go. Follow it up with that loss to Vancouver. Follow it up with the loss to the Avalanche. And then you're just in an apathetic state again. You're like, why the fuck didn't we sell? We suck. We're terrible. We're brutal. And then you go on the friggin' road trip and you lose that first one to Toronto.
You get
ass rammed. And you're just like, oh my God, this existence is so painful. And then they're like, hold my fucking beer. We're going to go win fucking 3 in a row and bring everybody's hopes back up to life. We're going to revive you from the dead just to watch you die some more.
It really is the ultimate.
It's like one of those sick, twisted serial killers where they just want to keep you alive just for as long as humanly possible because they get their fucking kicks out of watching you suffer eternally for the rest of your Flames fan life. That's what it's all about. Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Last night was an absolute barn burner. Every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION to get in on the game. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Well, if we go back and we break down the week as a whole, right? We covered that Toronto game. It was peak depression. And then I want to talk about this because I think it's a really important layer of, peeling back what's going on with this Flames team. After that Toronto loss, there's Uyghur in the dressing room still. He's still got half his gear on, it looks like. And he straight up captain vibes. They're talking. They ask him, okay, well, what do you do now heading to Madison Square Garden to face the Rangers? And he says, it's the biggest game of the year.
It's a must win for us. I want everybody. I need more from everybody, including myself. We got to get out of this. And, we're right back in a playoff spot if we win tomorrow night.
And, hockey players get pegged all the time for just being cliche. Yeah, pucks in deep. Yeah, this, and that. And sometimes they just know all the right words to say. But if you watch this interview, you can tell the conviction. You can see it on his face. It's not just words. And we've been making this point all season long is that there is leadership in this Calgary Flames team. You saw it start from the general manager down to the coach at the start of the season. You've seen it in those chase videos. They're all in that room together, and they're talking about playoffs from day one. Their goal is not to win the Stanley Cup, which is, I think, smart. It's not, you don't want to set your goals too high here. Their goal has been to make the playoffs all season long. You have veterans in that room. You have guys like Blake Coleman. I mean, you saw that one chase episode where Huska is pointing to Coleman. He's pointing to Kadri. Who else in there is winning cups? He's pointing to Lombo. And he's like, guys, what is a style of hockey? What is a style of hockey? It's playoff hockey. You guys have won championships. I mean, give credit to Huska for being, preparing these guys mentally for this season. I just don't love his execution, his X's and O's, and his lineup decisions freaking frustrate the hell out of me. But since day one, the veterans on this team they've been vocal about it. They've let media know. They let the fans know. Kadri was basically telling the fans they're losers for wanting to lose like 2 weeks ago. Then he goes and backs it up and just scores fucking monumental goal after huge goal after fucking clutch goal after money goal, like does again last night. You got Weegs in there saying this shit, and then the team comes and responds in that way. So there's some sort of aura about this team. And we were talking about last night on Afterburner. There's a fuck you mentality to these guys. And if they can really dig in, utilize it, grasp it, maybe that's enough to get them through these finals at 13 games left to get enough points to get you past the hump, to get you over the hump. I mean, it's a whole other story what happens if you actually make the playoffs and what happens in round one. But everybody knows every playoffs are just exciting, man. If you get in, it's fucking exciting for
imagine they make it and you're getting ready for game one.
At least you're going to see Dustin Wolf in the playoffs. You're going to see Matt Coronado. You were talking last night. You would love to see Kadri in the playoffs.
Totally. Well, you watched that game last, and again, like you said, Kadri backing it up, right? He's not a guy that he's had that mentality his whole career. And I think it's what's made him such a loved player, right? He's just like, fuck you. And then he backs it up with his performance. And it would be great to see. I really want to see what he can do in a playoff series based on how he's played. Like the last 3 games, he's scored in all three games. 4 points on the road trip, in the biggest road trip of the season. When Backlund's out, he stepped up. Uyghur's out, he stepped up. And that's really all he does is step up. And that's what you've heard. That's what he's done his entire career. And I know they shit on him in Toronto about it. But this fuck you mentality, exactly. This is what Daryl was ultimately trying to foster in the season, in his last season, right? That's what he was trying to get these guys to buy into, because he knew how valuable that would be come playoff time, right? Like that's why he was on them so hard. Yep. And hey, maybe he went a bit too hard from day one. But that's really ultimately what he was trying to do, right? Be like, create, because that's what he's so good at, create this us versus the world mentality. They never really bought into that wholesale as they have this year for whatever reason, but they really have bought into that this year. And I think it's obviously they've got some confidence when they have a guy like Wolf in net and they know they have a chance in any single game.
That's a big, that's huge.
That's huge. You've heard this from almost day one, specifically from Kadri, but other guys too, who are just like, hey, you think you're going to write us off? Wolf's been talking about this, dude.
Yep. Wolf, remember he quoted, we're going to get in. And then he goes, gets a shutout against the Habs.
He's like, I know people think we're not going to get in. We're going to get in. Shutout. Kadri. Yeah, we're making a push for the playoff. Fuck you guys. Score 3 huge goals in 3
You want us to lose? Fuck you, loser. Yeah. Fuck you. Watch this.
That's awesome. That's dangerous, dude. When you actually have that like if you have that infectious belief, I know it sounds fucking wacko, but it's true. It's true in hockey, especially. It really is.
Because it's not like if you limp in to the playoffs, these guys are not going to be limping in at this point. If they get in, they're going to be battle tested into the playoffs. Yeah, they've been they've been grinding and fighting tooth and nail all season long. So it's not like you're just like, oh, we got in. Now what? No, you have guys in there that have this fuck you mentality. You have guys in there that know how to win. I mean, we just rattle them off. Like there's an intangible element. There is some veterans in there that even Anderson's got that fuck you to his game, right? He's always lipping everybody off. It could be. I wouldn't say it could be an intriguing team to see get into the playoffs. Just based on nobody fucking's going to pick us ground one. Nobody believes we stand a fucking chance. Fuck you. And you've seen it. You've seen it in the NHL. You almost see it every season. There's one team. So I don't know. If we're perpetually 16th overall, this is all we can ever fucking hope for.
This is all we can hope for is a big fuck you first round playoff appearance. But like I said, I do want to see Kadri play for the Flames in the playoffs, because it's been a shame not to see Nazem Kadri be in the playoffs. The last time we saw him in the playoffs was winning the Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche. Again, doing what he does best, winning the cup and telling everyone to get fucked and saying, you didn't believe in me? Fuck you. I'm going to go lift the Stanley Cup. And I think that would be really fun to see him play in the playoffs and see what Dustin Wolf can do in the playoffs. And just to be in that atmosphere, it'd be great.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long-form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.